I'm very excited to introduce this next session on how to accelerate business process automation by Ananta Radha, CEO and Managing Director at Infosys BPM. Joining him will be Arvind Subramanian, Senior Vice President and Head of Accounting Operations at Royal Philips NV. As a quick note, we will be able to take a few questions at the end of this session as well. Radha, handing it off to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Amy, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here today to talk to you virtually around an important digital transformation journey which we undertook with Royal Philips Health Tech. And it's my pleasure to walk you through that experience and the key learnings and the critical things which we believe would be helpful for a lot of our customers as well. So let me start off. I have a few quick slides and then I'll introduce Arvind and bring him on stage as well. If I can have my slides, please. Yes. The whole journey in the BPM industry is about reimagining business process management. This clearly will help clients navigate their next to becoming a live enterprise. And as we do it, the key levers which we will use are digital technology, inclusive humanware. I'll explain what humanware is shortly, and then innovative operating models. If I look at this framework, which talks of every live enterprise of our client having to interact with digital customers, digital ecosystems, and digital envelopes. The digital ecosystems really are around the production and consumption ecosystems. And the ability to bring this together in a digital envelope to create and deliver value is what the Reimagining BPM is all about. Let me look at how we have reimagined BPM within Infosys BPM. What have we done? We have significantly shifted our operating model from purely efficiency to what we call the 4 E's: efficiency, effectiveness, experience, and empathy. And this will help us deliver greater business value and resilience for our customers. What have we done and where are we progressing on it? We have about 8,000 of our associates who have gone through specific training on digital technologies and capabilities, design thinking, a greater level of assertiveness, consultative skills, both behavioral as well as demonstrated leadership skills like empathy, to be able to enhance experience for our client stakeholders. 72% of our global engagements are getting covered. At this point, approximately 23% is the productivity benefits we deliver across the board. We have 3,200 digital bot workers, and especially in the new normal, as we all migrated to the virtual ODC, 97 to 98% of these bots also easily migrated to work from the virtual environment very easily. We are also creating innovative models. These models clearly involve a distributed virtual ODC, hybrid working across work at site and work at home, a mix of bringing in humanware. Let me spend a minute on humanware. Humanware really is the best of humanness and the best of digital technology coming together to create greater value for our customers. And obviously, KT and process automation coming together to create this new innovative model. If I look at what are the key levers which have helped us in accelerating business process automation, I think we begin with the mindset, this whole mindset, a digital mindset of remote process mining in today's world, understanding areas of the process which can get automated, which can get eliminated, reusing from a digital bot factory which we have built. Clearly, these digital workers and bots are looking across an enterprise level process. We're looking at an end-to-end process. We're clearly looking at bringing in RPA and intelligent automation on cloud together. And what is the challenge? The challenge is really to automate every amenable process, post-harmonizing and standardizing the process to get amplified value. And as we do this, putting a good governance and partnership structure and having a pricing model which supports this and doesn't become inverse to this. And having a clear automation nerve command center for all the digital workers who work along with the human there. That's something which we have found is an important lever for accelerating business process automation. Let me spend a minute on a live example of what we have done with Royal Philips. Royal Philips, as you know, is a leading global health tech company. They're headquartered in the Netherlands, and they clearly provide a lot of good outcomes across the health continuum, which is especially important in today's environment of the global pandemic. What do we do for them? We have been one of their strategic partners in the finance function. And what that means is we have approximately across the globe, we carry out the finance and accounting transactions for Royal Philips Health Tech. We've been their partners now for the last 13 years. And this particular journey, which we are speaking about today, began about 3 years ago. This began with bringing in Infosys Assistage RPA platform and deploying it for fairly complex as well as simple processes within Philips Finance and Accounting Services. We looked not only at our 1,400 people worth of activities and effort, we also clearly looked at the processes which were run by Philips themselves, Philips Finance themselves. Where are we today? About 550 RPA bots have been deployed and working. And this is working. The activities we support are spread globally across 6 regions, which we support for Philips. At this stage, what I'll do is I'll introduce Arvind Subramanian. Arvind is a senior, hi Arvind. Arvind is a senior vice president at Philips Finance Function. He runs and heads all their accounting operations. He is a thorough professional with a practitioner experience of more than 25 years in the finance and accounting space across different areas. So welcome. He's based out of Netherlands, and welcome to this panel to help us understand your experience of how we have gone about this finance transformation journey.
Thank you, Radha.
Over to you.
Thank you very much, and pleasure to be here. If I can have my slides. Thank you. So a bit of a background. Radha already provided you with the background of this automation journey. It started actually back in 2015 when Philips decided to centralize the finance function. So the 2015-2016 was more about centralizing the finance in a couple of regional centers that we had. And it was a natural consequence. As a next step, we were thinking about how to automate the operations within finance. And it was in 2017 that we put a stick on the ground saying, okay, we want to automate 1 million work hours within the finance operation. And we use in Philips the Hoshin strategy. For those who know, it's a strategic planning tool wherein right from Philips level into also in the domain level within finance, we use this for defining and also deploying our strategy. So we put a ambitious target of 1 million hours of automation as a goal with around this program. And that's when it started. So we said, if you want to automate, how do we partner, where to do? And big part of our operations is also with Infosys. We also work with Infosys to really define how do we go about the journey. That's when we entered into a partnership back in 2017, August, with Edgework and Infosys to say, okay, how do we basically now take where we are in Philips to where we want to be, with more digital workers onboarded. It was a very important element, and I want to also touch upon the second piece of cultural embedment, where it is not only critical, when we say you want to commit and you want to commit hard, and that's also the 1 million work hours comes in. Otherwise it becomes a kind of deprioritize when conflicts on resources or something happens. So we wanted to commit it as part of our Hoshin strategy. So it's in the forefront of what we want to deliver. And at the same time, we also committed quite ambitiously. Looking back in 2017, we had very little insights on whether we'll be able to achieve this, yes or no. And more importantly, we didn't want to use automation as an opportunistic, enabler to drive efficiency here and there. So it's not about opportunistic automation, but more holistically looking at the process from an end-to-end perspective. That's why the lean part of embedding the culture has a very important role to play. And it also takes us to the next piece where we didn't look at it on an individual automation, but we looked at the whole process from an end-to-end perspective. So it was not just the finance process. We looked at how most of these transactions come into play from the upstream businesses as well. So we looked at it holistically and said, how do we, what are the white spots and where do we bring in RPA to address those requirements? So if you look at the automation journey as we stand today, a big part of automation, if you look at the pie chart, the big part, more than 50% of the automation happened in R2R, right? Realistically, that's also where we had significant resources locked up, A, and B, with more outsourcing and also regionalization of our finance centers, it also becomes critical that this also became a very sensitive area where we wanted to create a stronger business continuity opportunities. So I'll talk about the 4 blocks that is mentioned. It's really, we looked at this automation as a long-term commitment, right? So it was not just a 1-year venture. We are still continuing. So we are in the 3rd year of our operations or automation journey. So we really looked at it as a 5 years opportunity as how we want to get, or what we want to get out of this. We applied a very key design principle of, we call it as ESSA, that is the elimination, simplification, standardization, automation. So it was not, when we deployed the targets of 1 million hours and in terms of multiple years and into multiple domains and organization, very quickly we realized people were automating what they thought was the right opportunity. But then we really pulled the undone and we went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, we need to create a clear design principle where we want to look at this more holistically. And if the process is, a lot of manual efforts are there and people look at it as an opportunity, the first lens was, are we automating waste? If it is, then we went back to the process and saying, okay, can we eliminate this or can we simplify the process itself? How do we drive standardization so that we can scale up? And then we bring in the automation opportunity. Also, when we said automation opportunity, we didn't immediately plug in RPA. We said, can we use the existing ERP landscape or other application to really scale up automation to do the work? So it was so RPA was one of the plug among the various elements or we used to address the end-to-end process in the most effective way. I think critical success factor, I think we'll come back a little bit later, but program governance was very important. We had almost a 40-year program governance where on an operational levels and until the senior leadership level, we had a clear escalation matrix and who does what and how we control the overall project, including the KPIs, definitions, etc. What was also, while this automation, where we're going through the automation journey, we also embedded, we created center of excellence where within R2R, we created the organization more process-centric, which allowed us to look at the process from an end-to-end perspective. That was also a very important element in going through this journey. A lot of challenge. This was a massive program within Philips finance organization, and this was also very complex because we have a business and markets matrix, as in many other companies, regionally located, multiple ERP systems. We also work on multiple business models. With the health tech, we had installable businesses, customer service business, software as a service. So business models were also many. So all these complexities invariably gets translated into finance, and especially in our environment where we were primarily focusing. I think so it really required multiple collaborations across organizations within Infosys and with HVerb. And so this was quite a heavy workload from that perspective. But one thing which you see, COVID-19 outbreak, this was never even dreamt of back in 2017. But retrospectively, we couldn't have had this journey in a better opportune moment. While it provides a different dimension of how we work today within Philips Finance, and probably for many other companies, it was very, we can only thank our stars that we basically embarked on this journey 2 years back, because close to 400 of our FTEs were moved into a bot environment. And that not only freed up our resources to be able to more proactively look at judgmental areas and supervise the outcome, but it enabled us to withstand the quarter closing and the month closing, which has a huge peak during those periods, in much more easy and agile manner. And I think from that perspective, this was really an opportune embarkment that we did from a Philips perspective. Just few numbers. We have, as I said, close to 400 FTs translated into a bot. And this also means that we have more, the engagement also very interestingly improved, because people are not doing more of those routine automated work, but they were more, we had to upskill those resources, existing resources, to do more of supervisory and judgmental part of the work. We expect to deliver more than 24 million euros of value out of this journey over a period of 5 years. Productivity was close to 24%. We have more than 300 use cases currently. And I'll just talk about one particular use case on business consolidation, where we actually report for close to 400 units. And this happens in a matter of 2 days. 400 units, financial statements gets reported into our business consolidation area. And that basically is a huge workload for the people. And we barely managed to deliver that. And with the help of bot, we fundamentally reduced that workload by 50%. Right? So now it's more the supervisory and double checking of what has been reported is there than the actual reporting process. So those are really the proof points where we benefited from this journey. And just to summarize, this probably is my last slide. If we have to look at the critical success factors of what made us successful in this journey, if I can't call it successful as we stand now, because we still have a few yards to go. I think there are a couple of things, right? So one is aspirational target, which is probably blocked as a second bullet, is probably the first one for me, where I say, we put ourselves, committed ourselves to 1 million work hours. So it was not a question of anymore, and it was part of a question deployed across the organization. So it was not anymore a question of whether we should do it or not. It was only how should we do it and what do we need to get it done. So the whole mindset was changed. And this was led from our CFO. So right from the Philips sponsorship from top down was thorough. And we also had a very clear vision document by domain, and we made the SMEs and BPOs own that to deliver on that. We applied SR model, as I said earlier. It was not an opportunistic automation on individual tasks, but we looked at it more holistically and said, how do we upgrade our processes to the next level and be able to sustain with this automation? So that was very crucial. Governance we talked about. infrastructure was very important because the workload, especially in finance, goes up and down. So flexible cloud infrastructure was very important. We created a factory-based implementation approach together with Infosys and Edgework. That's a very important piece in scaling this up. Last but not the least, it's also, we have churned out close to 300 plus bots and 500 plus bots. So it's important that for us to create a operational command center to monitor how these are going, right? How each of these bots are running and whether it's being effective, yes or no. So that was a very important piece which also played a role. So I'll stop now, and I think we have probably 5 minutes for the question and answers. Back to you, Radha.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Arvind. Just a summary slide, and then we are open for questions. If I can have the slide, please. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Look, there are three key takeaways for us through this journey. Arvind, every time I hear you, I learn more of this journey over the last 3 years we've undergone through. The need for organization change management within the enterprise, humanware, the ability to bring human element and automation together. And clearly, automation is not to substitute a human being, but really to augment and amplify business value. These have been three principles which we have learned through multiple journeys, including the one at Philips. So thank you, Arvind, and we are now open for questions, both Arvind and I.
Thank you so much, you guys. That was a wonderful presentation, and the analysts think so too. So this first question is from Sanchit Goja from Greyhound Research for Arvind. Great client example, thank you. Can you please talk a bit more about data integrity and how that has been managed through the course of the engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very close to my heart as an accounting operations. So indeed, I think we had multiple levels of, to some extent that it frustrates me. We had multiple levels of reviews. Also being health tech environment, it has to be approved by Q&R. So we embedded controls as part of automation to really make sure that the outcome from the bot environment was reliable and successful, right? So I think we not only created a second level review process, but we embedded wherever possible an automated control as part of the RPA journey. So that is to assure the outcome of the data that we are delivering from the process. From an incoming process, as I said, we were looking really at an end-to-end process. We also looked at the upstream process and make sure it is critical that it's typical garbage in, garbage out. So we also made sure that the incoming data from the business process is also assured and is of high quality. So one example, we had a constant issue where our invoices were getting blocked. So we created a bot not in finance, but we moved that bot in the procurement area to make sure that the data that is coming in is more quality, high quality, so that the downstream process actually can be eliminated. So I can talk more about it, but I think I hopefully have answered the question that was asked.
Yes, that was a great answer. Thank you so much, Arvind. I have another question for you. This is from Ritika Fleming, Horses for Sources. What will the characteristics of a leading finance organization 3 years from now for Philips? And what outcomes are they delivering to the business?
Wow, I'll probably spend another half an hour on this, but I'm conscious of time. So we are actually, it's a very great question because, as I said, we are very much work with our strategic planning process, the Hoshin process. Our last Hoshin, it is a 5-year cycle. Our last Hoshin was from 2015 to 2020. So this is the year where we are replenishing our Hoshin, and we were actually spend many hours with our finance leadership team to foresee where we want to be as finance in 2025. So I think that dovetails very nicely into the question that is asked. So we are looking at it more as a touchless environment, right? So that becomes a cliche that almost every company says that. We truly believe that many of our backend process can be touchless, but more importantly, where we want to take automation is in the decision-making process, right? I think that will continue to play a very important role in our margin analytics, really foreseeing how the business is going and be able to be an active partner in decision making and driving business towards the value. I think that's where our automation journey will go. The speed with which we will move our backend processing into a touchless will accelerate much faster than I think many of us believe, and that's how we see it. Also, this is primarily our ambition, where we see finance in 2025 as somebody who would be more actively looking into business complex areas and be able to take decision quickly to serve the customer better.
I feel like I could have asked you about 10 more questions about that as well. That was so well said, very well articulated, and using AI to drive business value. I thought that was just, in a nutshell, wonderful. So again, thank you, Radha. Thank you, Arvind. Really appreciate your time and your expertise.